The war was finally over. After 6 long years of fighting across planets and galaxies, Captain Jack stood in front of the Galactic Union High Council. His face was calm, but his body still carried the pain of battle. He had led the mission that destroyed the enemy mothership. Billions were now safe because of him. "Captain Jax," said Chancellor Vorn, his voice echoing in the huge hall, "you have brought honor to the human empire. As a reward, we offer you something very rare." Jax looked up. He was expecting a medal, maybe a ship or a high rank. Instead, the doors opened and 2 figures walked in. Twin girls, not human. They were tall, with pale silver skin and glowing blue eyes. Strange markings ran down their arms like tattoos. Their hair was white, and their expressions were blank, like they were trained to hide all emotion. "These are Zalari," the Chancellor continued, "alien twins, born on a distant planet that no longer exists. They were taken during an early raid. Now they belong to you." Jax's jaw tightened. "Belong to me?" he repeated. The council members nodded. "Yes, they are yours to use, however you like." The twins stood silently. They didn't speak, didn't even look at each other. Their hands were bound by thin glowing cuffs which pulsed every few seconds. Jax looked around. No one else in the room found this strange. Was this normal out here? In this part of the galaxy, he had fought for peace, for freedom. Now he was being given slaves? "I don't accept slaves," he said slowly. The Chancellor smiled coldly. "Captain, they are not considered people. They are bioforms. Engineered property. We only call them twins because they were born at the same time. Keep them, sell them, return them, your choice." Jax looked at the girls again. One of them, slightly taller, lifted her head for just a second. Her eyes met his. And in that moment, something strange passed between them. She wasn't a machine. She was afraid. Jax didn't say anything more. He took the girls without another word and left the hall. The guards uncuffed them at the exit. No one asked him if he wanted to keep them. No one seemed to care. Back on his ship, the Crimson Star, he took them to the private quarters. The ship was parked on Titan, one of Saturn's moons, his temporary base. "You can sit," he told them. They looked at each other for the first time. Then they sat. "What are your names?" he asked. They stayed silent. "You don't have to be afraid," Jax said, trying to sound kind. "I'm not going to hurt you." "Still nothing," he sighed. "I'll give you space. You're safe here." He left the room and walked to the control deck. He felt heavy, confused. He had killed enemies, destroyed weapons, led missions, but never in his life had he been offered living beings as a gift. Was this what victory looked like? That night, Jax couldn't sleep. He walked back to check on the twins. They were awake, sitting on the floor in the corner. They hadn't touched the food or water. "I'm not your master," Jax said. "You're free now." This time, the smaller twin looked up. Her voice was soft, barely a whisper. "You don't understand. Help me understand." She looked at her sister, who gave a small nod. Then she stood and walked closer to Jax. "They didn't give us to you as a reward," she said. "They gave us to you to get rid of us." Jax frowned. "What do you mean?" "We are not normal," she said. "We were created for something else. Something dangerous. They fear what we might become." Jax's voice lowered. "Why?" The taller twin finally spoke. Her voice was stronger, colder. "Because we remember things we shouldn't." "What? Things?" She stepped forward until her face was inches from his. "Memories that are not ours. Secrets from before we were born. They put them inside us. And now they want us gone." Before Jax could reply, the lights in the room flickered. A strange sound came from the control deck, like static, like a whisper. The taller twin grabbed Jax's arm. "They're watching us," she whispered. Even now, Jax ran to the control room. The screens were glitching, words appearing in alien code, cameras shutting down. Alarms silent dot, and then one clear message flashed across the main screen. Property transfer complete. Subject disposal. Expected. Jacques felt a chill crawl down his spine. This was no gift. This was a trap, and he had just walked straight into it. The sky above Titan was always the same, thick orange clouds. No stars, no sun, just the endless cold. Jacques' small outpost sat alone on the frozen surface, hidden by rock and ice. This place was never meant to feel like home. It was quiet. Too quiet. Inside, the metal walls hummed gently, the floor cold even through boots. Jacques stood at the window, watching nothing. Behind him, the alien twins sat on opposite ends of the room. They hadn't moved much since arriving. Still no names. Still no answers. He didn't lock the doors. He gave them real beds, warm food, clothes. They still didn't smile. Day 2 on Titan. The twins explored the halls silently. One touched the panels, her fingers leaving faint blue trails of light. The other looked at the ceiling often, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Jacques watched from the control room. He told himself he was protecting them. But deep inside, he wasn't sure if they were the ones who needed protecting. He checked the ship logs. All systems normal. But the cameras in Hall B had started glitching. Only near them. At night, strange sounds echoed in the air vents. Soft whispers, static crackling. No recordings caught it. Only Jacques heard it. Day 3. Jax tried to ask them again. I don't know who you are, he said, but I know you're not what they said. If there's something I should know, now's the time. The taller twin looked up. Her voice was calm. We were created in darkness, but darkness is not always evil. Jacques frowned. That's not an answer. The smaller twin finally spoke. You're not afraid of us. That's rare. Should I be? She tilted her head. Maybe. She walked to the wall and placed her hand flat against it. The wall melted for a second, like liquid metal, then turned solid again. Jacques stared. What did you just do? I asked the house to listen, she said. They're still looking for us. Who? She looked up, and for the first time Jacques saw something. Not fear, not anger, but warning. The ones who made us forget. That night he woke up suddenly. No alarms, no reason. Just a feeling. He grabbed his blaster and moved down the hall. The lights were dim. The temperature had dropped. He could see his breath in the air. Then he heard it. A voice. A whisper. Not in English. From the room where the twins were. He pushed the door open quietly. They were both awake, sitting on the floor. Between them, a glowing orb floated, pulsing softly. It showed images, planets, DNA strands, weapons, faces. And then it stopped. They both looked up at him, calm, not surprised. You weren't supposed to see that yet, said the taller one. What was that? A memory, she replied. Not ours, planted in us. Planted by who? They didn't answer, but the orb didn't disappear. It shifted. Now it showed a black symbol, sharp, simple. A circle with 3 vertical lines across it. Jacques had seen it before, on secret files, sealed missions. The mark of Project Seraphim, the human empire's most hidden genetic weapons program. You were created by humans? Jacques asked, stepping back. No, said the smaller twin. They found us, and they tried to change us. We were something else before, added the other. They split us, broke us, gave us new minds, but it didn't work. Some of the old memories returned. Jacques felt dizzy. Why give you to me then? Why not destroy you? Because you're a soldier, a hero. No one would question it. He realized now the reward was never meant to be kind. It was a silent execution. A clean way to erase a secret. Suddenly, the entire outpost shook. The lights flashed red. Alarms silent, but the screen showed a message, Incoming vessel. Unregistered. JX ran to the control deck. A ship was entering Titan's atmosphere. Fast. No ID. No contact. The twins walked in behind him. They found us. The taller one said, "But it's not the Union." Jocks gripped the control panel. "Then who is it?" The smaller twin closed her eyes. Her voice changed, deeper, more echo than sound. "They call themselves hunters. They erase what should not exist." Jocks looked at the screen. The enemy was here, but he didn't know yet if he was protecting the twins, or if the twins were the only thing keeping him alive. The lights were off, but Jocks could still see them. The twins, standing at the edge of the control room, glowing faintly. Not from the lights. From within, the unknown ship was still hovering above Titan. It hadn't attacked. Not yet. But the silence was louder than a scream. "Who are they?" Jocks asked again. The taller twin didn't blink. "They're not here for you, only for us." "Why?" "Because we are unfinished." Hours earlier, Jocks had believed he was alone on a quiet moon, watching over two alien sisters. Now he realized the quiet wasn't peace. It was a warning. The smaller twin stepped forward and held out her hand. "There's something you need to see," she said. Jx hesitated, then placed his palm against hers. The moment they touched, the ship disappeared. No walls. No air. No body. He was somewhere else. Floating. Surrounded by black stars and golden wires twisting like vines. In front of him, two bright figures, shaped like the twins, but taller, older, and less human. He saw flashes. A lab full of sleeping children in glass tanks. Scientists in masks. One twin screaming as wires entered her skin. The other fighting, but not with fists, with her mind. Machines exploded. He saw writing, "Project, Mirror Twin." And then a sentence. "Two minds, one core. Divide the memory. Control the power." Jocks gasped and pulled back. He was back in the room, sweating. "What was that?" "Our beginning," said the taller twin. "We weren't born," added the smaller one. "We were designed." Jocks was silent. "They called us an experiment. A weapon. But something went wrong." "The memory core," said the taller twin. "It copied not just data, but something deeper. A soul," whispered the other. Outside, the mystery ship finally landed. No radio signal, no movement. Just a black ship with no windows. Jax loaded his weapon. "If they come for you, we fight." The twins looked at each other. "No." They said together, "We don't fight them." Jocks turned. "Why not?" "Because they are not alive." He followed them outside. The black ship hissed open. Figures walked out, tall, thin, wearing smooth armor, no eyes, no faces. Just dark masks. Jocks aimed. The twin stepped in front of him. The lead figure spoke, but not with sound. The words entered Jax's brain directly. "The error must be deleted," Jax shouted. "They're not errors. They're alive." "They are not complete," the voice replied. "One core, split. If not destroyed, they will become unstable." Jocks looked at the twins. "Is that true?" The taller one nodded. "Our minds are still separating. Soon, we may forget each other. Or worse, merge by force." "And if you do?" "We don't know," whispered the smaller one. "No one has ever survived it." The figures stepped forward, calm, ready to erase. Jocks raised his weapon and fired. The bolt hit the lead figure and passed through. No damage. He fired again. And again. Nothing. Suddenly, the ship's systems exploded. The lights on the outpost went dead. Everything was silent again, except for the twins. They were humming, not with sound, but energy. Their hands began to glow, not blue, but white hot. Jax backed away. "What are you doing?" The smaller twin whispered, "We're choosing." The taller one looked up. "If we don't become one, they will win." And then it happened. The twins walked toward each other, step by slow step. Light wrapped around them. Their bodies flickered, and then one flash, one scream, one silenced dot when Jacques opened his eyes. Only one figure stood, not two, not human, tall, glowing from head to toe. Silver eyes burning with something old, not pain, not fear, but memory. She looked at Jacques. "I am Alunara," she said. "I was broken. Now I remember." Jacques could barely speak. What are you?" She stepped forward. "A weapon, yes, but not theirs. I was created by something older than the Union. I was made to protect, but they twisted my code, divided my heart." Jacques looked past her. The black armored figures had vanished, gone. She had not touched them. They were echoes. Alunara said, "Programs sent to erase me before I woke up." "You're awake now," Jacques said. She nodded. "And I remember where the others are." Jacques stepped forward. "Others?" She turned toward the stars. Double quotes, "Yes, I was not the only one." The stars were quiet. Alunara stood alone at the edge of Titan's frozen cliff, her silver eyes locked on the endless black sky. She looked human, but she was not. Not anymore. Jacques watched her from a distance. He didn't speak. He had no words. Left. The two alien sisters, the gift he was never meant to accept, were gone. In their place stood one being, born from broken memories and stolen experiments. She was calm now. But something deep inside her was waking up. That morning, Jacques found something strange on the ship, a sealed locker in his private storage. One he never opened. It hadn't been there before. It opened when Alunara touched it. Inside was a small black cube, smooth, warm, and alive. The memory core. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They hid this inside you, Jacques." He stared. "Inside me?" She nodded. "The Union knew the twins would merge one day, but they didn't want me to remember everything. So they made you the key." Jacques stepped back. "I didn't know, I swear." "You were not the enemy," she said gently. "You were the carrier." They activated the core in the control room. Lights dimmed. Time slowed. And then a voice filled the air, not a person. A machine voice, cold and clean. "Welcome, Subject Alunara." Memory thread initiated. The walls of the outpost vanished. They stood inside a new place, a memory so strong, it became real. A lab, huge, silent, cold blue lights, rows of tanks filled with children, some human, some not, wires in their skin. Eyes wide open, Jack stepped forward. "What is this place?" "Project Seraphim's original site," Alunara replied. "Not just science, this was a factory for minds." She walked to a tank. Inside floated a small boy. His eyes were glowing, just like hers. "He was my brother," she whispered. "One of the first." His mind cracked. He tried to escape the dream they placed in us. He died before he was born. Jock swallowed hard. "This is real?" "No," she said. "Worse, this is remembered." She touched the tank and the memory changed. Now they were in a clean white room. A scientist stood above a young Alunara. "Only 8 years old," the man spoke gently. "You're doing great. But we need to separate your mind now. We want to see if your soul survives it." Little Alunara didn't cry. She only said, "Will I still be me?" The memory faded. The core pulsed once, then shut down. They were back in the outpost. Jax sat down slowly. "How many others like you are there?" "I don't know," Alunara said. "But the memory showed me something important. The location of the final lab. Still active?" She nodded. "Hidden deep inside an abandoned Union satellite near a dying star. If others survived, they're there." Jock stood. "Then we're going." He thought she would argue. She didn single quotes T. She just said, "You could die." "I died the day I accepted that reward," he said. "This time, I want to live." For something real. They left Titan within the hour. As the ship rose through Saturn's rings, Jax looked back at the moon below. So quiet. So cold. A place where he learned that victory can be a lie. That sometimes, the real war begins after the battle ends. And the stars ahead. The satellite waited. Broken. Lost. Inside it. Answers, and maybe. More like her. The stars blinked. Then one disappeared. Then another. And another. One by one. Lights. In the sky went dark. Until the universe looked like it was closing its eyes. Jock stood in the ship's control room, staring at the screen. What's happening out there? Alunara didn't answer. She just stood still, eyes glowing, hands behind her back, watching something only she could see. They're here, she said finally. The ones sent to erase. Who? Her voice dropped. The hunters. Jax had heard rumors. Special agents. Not human. Not alive. They worked in silence. No records. No mistakes. If the Union wanted something to disappear, a lab, a witness, a planet, the hunters did it. Without noise. Without war. Alunara stepped closer to the screen. 3 ships. No weapons showing. No heat trail. But they are armed. Very armed. Jax checked sensors. They're not broadcasting anything. They don't need to talk. Alunara said. They already know we're running. The ship they were on, the Crimson Star, was fast, but not fast enough. Jax turned toward Alunara. We can't outrun them, can we? No. Then what do we do? She didn't smile. She didn't blink. We let them come. They landed on the ruins of Station 9, a dead Union refueling hub floating near a collapsing star. Rusty walls. Broken lights. A graveyard of forgotten machines. Jax and Alunara walked inside. The air was thin, the silence heavy. This place is full of ghosts, Jax said. Not ghosts, Alunara whispered. Memories. She touched the wall, and the wall responded. Lights flickered on. Screens came to life. A door opened, one that hadn't opened in years. They entered. Inside, a circular chamber, old and cracked, with a tall chair in the center. The chair was made of black crystal. And in it, a child, not moving, not breathing, still, alive. Alunara stepped forward. Her voice was almost a prayer. She's like me. Jax moved slowly. She's been here alone, all this time? Frozen. Alunara said. Kept in sleep, waiting for a trigger. What kind of trigger? Alunara looked up. The return of the other half. Suddenly, the floor shook. Red lights flashed, and a sound low, humming, like metal being stretched, filled the station. The hunters had arrived. 3 of them. Tall, smooth, almost human. But wrong. Their faces were mirrors. Empty. Reflecting only what stood before them. They didn't run. They didn't sneak. They just walked in. As if they owned the silence. Jax raised his weapon. Alunara stepped in front of him. No, she said. This time, I remember. One of the hunters raised its hand. From its palm, a long thin wire shot out, like light turned into thread. It moved fast, faster than thought. Alunara didn't move, but the wire stopped 1 inch before her chest. Hunter tilted its head. Confused. Then Alunara spoke. You think you know who I am. But I was never just a project. She raised her hand. The wire shattered, not broke, disintegrated into light. Jax stared. The air around her was changing, bending, as if space was listening to her now. The hunters stepped back, the first time they had ever shown fear. Leave, Alunara said. This isn't your story anymore. One hunter moved toward the sleeping girl. Alunara's voice grew louder. She is me, and I am not yours to control. And then she moved. Not walked. Not ran. Just appeared. Between the hunter and the child, a flash of white, a crack in the air, and the hunter vanished. No fight. No sound. Gone. The other 2 turned to escape. But it was too late. When it was over, Nothing remained of the hunters but dust. Jax stood still, breathing hard, weapon shaking in his hands. Alunara stood calm. The child still slept. She's part of me, Alunara said softly. Split long ago. They hid her here so I would never be whole. Can you wake her? Jax asked. She nodded. But when she wakes, everything will change. Jax didn't know what that meant, but he knew one thing. The Union was afraid of them for a reason, and that reason was about to open her eyes. In deep space, near the edge of a dying star, something impossible happened. A heartbeat, not from a body. From the station itself. It pulsed once. Then again, slow, strong, alive. Jax felt it under his boots. A thump, like the station was breathing. He looked at Alunara. She wasn't looking at him. She was looking at the girl in the crystal chair, still asleep. Her glow was growing brighter, and so was Alunara's. She's waking up, Jax said quietly. Alunara nodded. She is the other half, she whispered. The final piece of me. I was never meant to survive without her. Then why were you split? Alunara closed her eyes. And the room darkened. Not because of power loss. Because the station remembered too. Suddenly, they were surrounded by images, floating memories. Not pictures, living echoes. A lab where two small girls were separated by force. Scientists screaming as their minds began to merge. Orders from high above. Split the subject. Erase overlap. Store second fragment on standby. And then silence. The second half, the child, was sealed away inside a failing satellite, near a star no one would visit. Hidden, forgotten. Until now. Alunara stepped closer. She holds the origin core, she said. The seed of who I was. Before they broke me. And if you merge with her, I will remember everything. Not just the experiments, not just the pain. She turned slowly to Jax. I will remember who I was before I was a weapon. Jax stepped forward. Can you handle it? Alunara smiled, for the first time. I don't know. The girl's eyes opened. They were empty. No fear. No voice, just pure white light. But she raised her hand, and Alunara took it. The moment their hands touched, the station exploded with color. Blue, gold, white. Machines lit up. Screens cracked. Old power returned. Gravity failed. Jax was thrown to the wall, but not hurt. Just lifted. He floated as light wrapped around both of them. The twin beings, now beginning to move as one. Their voices spoke together, not loud. Not human, initiating core resynchronization. The walls vanished. The stars grew larger. The past became present. And then, a stillness deeper than silence. Then came the light. One. Form. Not a girl, not a god. Something new. Tall, radiant, skin like starlight, hair like flowing data. Eyes full of time. The station shook beneath her feet, as if bowing. Jax stood in awe. Alunara? She turned to him. I was Alunara, she said. And now? I am something older than names. I was. The code, the memory. The failsafe, Jax frowned. Failsafe for what? For when humanity lost its soul. She raised her hand, and the entire station stopped shaking. Time itself slowed down. I wasn't made just to fight, she said. I was made to reset. Reset what? She looked past him. The Union, the Empire. The broken order they built on pain. Jax's chest tightened. You're going to destroy them. No, she said. I'm going to show them. Show them what? She stepped forward, glowing brighter. The truth they buried. The truth they fear. Far away, alarms were now lighting up on every Union control tower. Sensors screamed. Unknown signal detected. Power beyond calculation. Origin, dead Station 9. Generals stood. Leaders panicked. They had buried the past, but now it had risen. Jax followed her through. the corridor now pulsing with life. So what happens now? He asked. Alunara, or whatever she now was, touched the wall. It turned transparent, showing space outside. Now, she said softly, I send a message. She reached out with her mind, across light years, through satellites, into forbidden channels, hidden frequencies, and across the galaxy, across every screen, every device, came a simple sentence. We were not your tools. We were your mirrors, and you broke us. Billions heard it. Some were afraid, some remembered, but others, in labs, in prisons, in ships, opened their eyes. Others like her, forgotten, hidden, scattered. And now, awake, in the heart of the galaxy, silence cracked. Not with weapons, not with war, but with a voice, Alunara's voice, broadcast across every corner of the Union, across every station, every fleet, every sleeping planet. You created us from pain, tore us into pieces, called us tools, but we were never yours. And now, the whole galaxy was listening. Jack stood behind her, watching history rewrite itself in real time. No bullets fired. Just truth, spreading like fire, across the stars. Other beings stirred, hidden in dark corners of labs, in failed AI vaults, in forgotten biocores. The others like her, left behind. The Union didn't just fear her, they feared all of them. Panic bloomed in the Union's core worlds. Leaders screamed, admirals issued lockdowns, but it was too late. Too many had heard, too many had remembered the experiments, the children taken, the minds erased. And now, no one could silence the truth, not anymore. Alunara turned to Jax. You gave me something they never did, she said. A choice. You gave yourself that, he replied. I just didn't get in the way. She smiled, not a human smile, but something older, deeper, grateful. Then she raised her arms. And for the first time, she did not hide. A ring of light exploded from the ruined station, spreading through the stars. Not as a weapon, but a call. A signal only others like her could feel. A call to wake up. The Union tried to jam it. They failed. The light wasn't just data. It was memory, emotion, self. Then came the first message back, from a moon near Ander. Prime, we see you, Alunara. Then another, from a ship lost 20 years ago. We remember who we were. And then hundreds more. Thousands. Each one from someone broken and forgotten. Each one saying, we're still here. The Union made one last move. They launched a fleet toward the station. Fast, silent, final. Jax saw them on the scanner. They're not coming to fight. They're coming to finish this. Alunara didn't flinch. They don't understand. She said that they've already lost. The ships arrived in minutes. Dark, sharp, full of missiles, drones, AI soldiers. They fired. Jax braced for impact. But the blasts never hit. Instead, the missiles stopped mid-space. Frozen. As if the galaxy itself had pressed pause. Alunara stepped forward. Her voice, now everywhere. You wanted to bury us. But you forgot. You built us to remember everything. Then she did something unexpected. She didn't destroy them. She sent them home. One by one, the Union ships turned around, not by force, by will. Every soldier on board heard her voice. Every mind touched by the memory core remembered the truth. Not all obeyed, but enough to. The war didn't happen, because the idea of war, the lie it was built on, had fallen apart. Weeks later, the Union stood in front of its own people, broken, exposed, new. Voices rose, elections, protests, trials. Alunara didn't go to the trial. She didn't need to. Her judgment had already been spoken, not with death, but with clarity. She had given them a mirror, and now the galaxy had to look. Jock sat beside her in the rebuilt station, orbiting a green world filled with new life. You changed everything, he said. No, she replied. I just showed them what they were too afraid to see. He looked at her. What happens now? She looked to the stars. Softly she said, now we build a galaxy that remembers what it means to feel. Far away, in the dark void, another voice whispered back. Alunara, you're not the only one with a mirror, and something ancient opened its eyes.